Boot. So yesterday I tried to film this episode or this video and my eye just kept watering. This eye kept watering. So I was unable to film successfully while putting on my makeup. So I told myself, okay, let me wait later on in the night so that I can go ahead and film this video. Never got around to filming it. However, we are in the next day. We are in the wee hours of the morning, and by wee hours I mean at least before noon, and I am here to film this video again. So without further ado, welcome to my channel. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Exis and this is my channel, Exis Does. Hello, I hope you guys are doing well. And if you would ask me what I do on this channel, it is somewhere in between what it do, commentary, and my best. Yay. I'm pretty sure I look like it's my second time filming this video because I got very frustrated the first time due to, I guess, some like a reaction or allergies. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know. But I'm here. I'm here with my fourth installment of Hey Exis, What's on Your Mind? Yay! Woo! And I want to do some housekeeping before I get into the meat and potatoes of what I want to talk about today. For those of y'all who don't know what Hey Exis, What's on Your Mind is, which I feel like I should abbreviate it to HEWYM, maybe, I don't know, because it's a very long name. It is a segment I do on this channel where I just talk about pop culture moments, music, the entertainment industry, what's going on in Hollywood, what's going on, you know, politically, viral moments included. Again, anything on my mind that has been pressing me, I spend 100 to 120 minutes talking about in here. And so I wanted to talk about like some changes going on my channel and just in my overall brand. First and foremost, you'll see that there's a new bumper. I'm trying to prioritize my brand a little bit more. Beforehand, my brand wasn't that strong. Like, I do kind of like the Adult Swim-esque type of undertones, and then the lo-fi jazz music in the background. I really like that. However, I wanted to change it to something that's more true to me. I'm a really big Vaporwave fan, and I like retro anime and old school cartoons from the 2000s, so I kind of changed my bumper into that, and I think we're gonna keep that brand consistent throughout the entirety of my YouTube channel. You'll also notice that I have made some changes to where I'm posting on YouTube. By the way, deja vu moment. I also want to add about pop culture moments, and I talk about all these trending moments while I do my makeup. So right now I'm doing skincare, and to get started, because it's always important to have a really good base before you actually get into doing your makeup, and then I'll actually get into the makeup part and working on here we go, eyeballs watery again, and figure out what type of makeup look I'm doing. So it's basically like a makeup and yap sesh, like a get ready with me while I talk about things that are on my mind. And so far I like it. So far so good. We are on episode 4 now, I believe. Why is it that the camera always spotlights all of my acne scarring and texture? I hate it here. I really do. When I come into money, the first thing I'm gonna do is go to a med spa and have them fix like all my acne scarring, because at this point I have like I don't even have an idea of where it's coming from. Probably like hormones or something. I really don't know. It's just who I am, learning how to accept and love myself. So it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, I just do my makeup and I yap about things that are on my mind or pressing me. A couple things I want to talk about is, first and foremost, we are on a different YouTube channel. Yes. So I have made the executive decision to create a second YouTube channel, and the reason why is because streaming has honestly hijacked my first YouTube channel. That was originally called Exis Does. It's now called Exis Does Stream because I do stream a lot on there. I don't want to confuse the two audiences. So I have decided to make that portion of my YouTube brand, I guess, to be dedicated to streaming. So I have changed the name from Exis Does to Exis Does Stream, and that's where I will have a lot of my streaming videos on there, a lot of VODs. I don't know if I'll continue to keep the VODs on there or if I will unlist them and clip them into videos. I really don't know. I really like the community I'm developing on YouTube streaming and the people that reach out to me, and I'm actually having a really fun time gaming. I really like Telltale games now. I'm going through the Walking Dead series. Unfortunately, we are at the last chapter, so I give it like maybe like 2 to 3 weeks. I'll probably be done with The Walking Dead. And so you might catch me playing another Telltale game, but I actually really enjoy Telltale games. I think they're very fun. I like the storytelling aspect. It's like I'm being immersed in the story and I don't have to worry so much about my skill. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that channel is going to be dedicated specifically to just streaming, and that's all I'm going to do there. And then this channel that I have will just be called Exes Does. This is a new channel that I opened up, and this is where all my recorded videos will go. I did try to post recorded videos onto the former Exes Does channel, and I realized that they weren't performing well, and it's probably because streaming had hijacked that channel. So we're just moving it on over to the second channel that is now called Exes Does. And this is where my Hey Exes, What's on Your Mind, HEWYM, HEWYM, that's where this will live. That's where this series will live, and maybe like other little commentaries I want to do here and there. Yes. So we are in the 4th episode of Hey Exes, What's on Your Mind, and I'm having fun. I have also started a Patreon. Yeah, I haven't launched it yet, but I'm in the process of launching it. I know it's very, very early to do something like that, but hey, might as well get it done now than never get it done at all. Or I don't know, it's better to start now than never. I know I used to have a Patreon when I was doing more like spicy content, but I'm noticing that ever since YouTube has been scamming people with their AdSense, a lot of creators have just moved to Patreon. So I feel like that's the best way to monetize myself. And the overall goal of, me being a content creator is being able to do this full time. And one way to do that is to put some things behind a paywall. And I've also put the series into the podcast playlist on YouTube. I don't know, that's just so official to me. And like, if you look at my bedroom right now, like in my room right now, it's not giving official. Like I said before, a lot of podcasts nowadays, they're like formal and you have to have a studio and it has to be soundproof and you have to have a microphone. And I don't know. I have a theory that everyone's working so hard and like looking the part that a lot of people don't have like anything of value to say. Like I feel like sometimes the best people who have so much to say and so much value are the folks who just sit in their bedroom, bed unmade and all, and just go ham and let them have it, or they're just in their bathroom getting ready for an event, like their bathroom's damn near a mess, their script is literally whatever they typed on Google Docs that day. Like I feel as if a lot of people, they look the part, but they don't deliver in dialogue and in conversation. Like, think about it. You got a bunch of dudes now. Best drip, got the nice fade, got the broccoli haircut, all right? Got that nice, juicy, expensive microphone. Got that nice, beautiful, elaborate setup. All for y'all to sit for anywhere between 100 to 120 minutes at a time and have the worst, rankest unemployment talking points. Relationships, who's supposed to be held accountable, who's bringing what to the tables, what tables we're bringing, like all types of nonsense. So you mean to tell me you spent all that money on that broccoli haircut, on that fade, on those nice elaborate clothes for you to sit in a really nice studio that I'm sure you rented out a hefty coin for you to sit and rant about relationships, about women, about wackadoodle conspiracy theories that don't even exist, like the earth being flat. Are you kidding me? You could have just done that in your bedroom. Like, I don't know, especially with the white boys, right? The girls on TikToks have been saying that they miss when the white boys were in the garage making rock music and emo pop punk music. And y'all need to put the microphone down and get back in the garage. I know that we don't have garages anymore because no one's technically a homeowner, but if you can find a garage adjacent or a group of like ragtag friends, maybe one of your homies is trying to cope with the divorce with his parents, I don't know, but like white boys especially, get out of the podcast studio and get into the garage and make some pop punk music. Like you don't need to do this Like you're what, 18 years old? What do you know about women? Like, come on, bro. Like 25 years old, your frontal lobe technically as a man doesn't develop until you're like what, 30, 40? Like it develops a lot later. Don't do that. Just make rock music. Learn how to play the guitar, please. We miss pop punk music, we miss emo music, we miss that, okay? We don't need to hear your rancid ass takes about women when you don't even know where the clitoris is. Like, come on, bro. Anyway, speaking of which, that will lead me into my next official topic. How everyone is being alt and alternative and goth now. I just been noticing an uptick in like cultures, like, or fashion cultures changing. I always like to observe a lot of trends, fashion trends that are happening throughout the years, within the next 5 years, within the next 10 years. And one big trend that I have been noticing is that a lot of people have been slowly creeping into like the alternative and goth look, and I think that is an indicator that rock music is going to be the next big genre to take over. I think people are a little bit tired of country. I'm not one to talk, I don't really be listening to country like that, but bro, country sucks. Bro, country is like the same over and over again, and whatever Morgan Wallen's on. Like, can we be real? And like, I feel like try to make it like better with like hip hop artists and working with hip hop artists. But honestly, the hip hop artists they be working with are the ones who are like, they talk about drill music, like gangbang music, like I'ma run up on your op type shit. Like, they're not working with like Chance the Rapper or Kendrick Lamar. And quiet as it's kept, Kendrick Lamar and Chance probably wouldn't want to work with them. Like, they're not working with like the greats in hip hop, honestly, because there's a lot of discrimination that goes with country. I feel like the next big sound is going to be pop punk, emo music, rock music, metal bands, and with that we can see that showing up in fashion, and people now coining the term like goth girl fall or goth girl autumn, you know, or dressing more goth and alternative, which I find is very, very interesting. But more or less, just with myself personally, I have noticed that I've always been in like very niche subculture alternative spaces. It made me realize that honestly, like high key in the highest of keys, like in my Mariah Carey falsetto level of keys, I really want to dress more alternative. And I realized, you know, I haven't really had like a solid fashion sense ever at all in my life, mostly because, you know, budgeting and what I'm spending my money on, food, but also because I never felt like I could afford it, you know? And I don't know, I feel like when I come into some money, I would like to dress more alternatively. And if not, if I don't come into some money, just go to my local thrift store more and like scrap together a few pieces from what I find at the thrift store. I never really saw myself as an alt girl though. I never saw myself as like an edgy girl, as a pop punk girl or whatever, but I've always listened to the music, and based off of the values of like what punk and what a lot of these alternative spaces stand for, I've always kind of had that mindset like naturally. And then, no offense, but like my existence is pretty alternative. Like being a black woman that is queer in this current climate and in any other climate after this is already alternative in and of itself. Really enjoying the pop punk genre sound and all that rock music and all that. Like, I feel like I've always been there, but I never really identified with the look or the aesthetic. And I think a couple reasons why is because I am a product of the 2000s. I am a 2000s kid, and we did not see a lot of like eclectic and eccentric type of alternative black people back then. We were always shoehorned into a genre, and I would argue up until the 2010s is when we actually started to have like more alternative black faces in mainstream media. Childish Gambino / Donald Glover, Tyler the Creator, and Odd Future. You know, we started to see a lot more alternative sounds. FKA Twigs, you know what I mean? I just discovered who Abra was, but like she was there too. And I guess because music was a lot easier to create, and make, you know, it opened the doors for more people of color to create the music they wanted. I've always been really into representation and how I'm being represented in media. And if I like, I'm not gonna lie, I used to be the girl. I'm not anymore. If I don't see anybody do what I want to do, I'm probably not gonna do it. Like, just real talk, in all honesty, I'm just like, in the highest keys, respectfully, it's not gonna happen. It's not, I'm not gonna partake. So I'm working on that. Well, over the past 5 years, I'd argue I'm working on it. I really don't care what people think, but like, as you know, a young Black girl growing up in, you know, the suburbs, it was a little bit hard back to see representation of people who were into eclectic music tastes like you are, you know what I mean? Also, the reason why I never considered myself alternative is because in the same breath of it being hard for me to find people that look like me, and I want to put a big disclaimer out here, this is not on some anti-Black, this is the problem with Black people no, I'm not anti-Black over here, but the Black kids who I did see around were very much so into hip-hop and R&B, and I wasn't allowed to listen to that music. And in all honesty, I don't think I would have listened to that music anyway. I think I was always going to be in like the rock pop sound anyway. It wasn't until I was in college that I really got into hip hop. Sorry. But normally I was just listening to the Billboard Top 100 and then rock music and then Fall Out Boy. You know what I mean? I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to fit in. And I was so afraid of expressing my interest of like, yeah, I actually really like, you know, Fall Out Boy, my Panic at the Disco, or My Chemical Romance. And I would always be worried of, you know, getting judgment from my Black peers to be like, oh, that's white people music. Like the scene kid look, I was obsessed with that look. And I so badly wanted to dress that way. But outside of me not really seeing a lot of scene kids of color, outside of that, you know, a lot of Black kids would probably look at me back then and be like, why are you dressed like that? Like, that's weird. That's like white people. Or Oreo, you know, which sucks. It really sucks when people that look like you ostracize you in that way. Can we talk about that? It sucks to not feel like you're included in, you know, non-Black spaces, but especially when you feel like you're not included in white spaces, you know, and then it makes you more reserved and want to keep to yourself. Unfortunately, this is a reality for a lot of Black kids where they're always being told they talk white, which I can at least tell when a Black person is speaking where they come from. Like, I can just, that's just like the radar that I have, my black radar, I guess. Like, even if somebody back in the day had called you an Oreo, I'm pretty sure I can pinpoint, like, in my mind, I'll figure out that you're probably a person of color. So I always thought that was weird. But then also another reason why I never wanted to dress alternative or alternatively was because I came from a strict household. And I would not be allowed to. I remember one time I wore a raccoon eyeliner and I wasn't intending to. I was trying to tight line my waterline, but I was too scared to touch my waterline because I didn't want to touch my eyeballs. So my eyeliner ended up going like underneath here. And I wasn't trying to give like goth, emo, edgy, right? That wasn't the intention. But I remember my aunt pulled me aside. And again, I'm a strict household, no disrespect. You know, you do as you say, you don't talk back, right? So my aunt, she looks at me and she's like, why are you wearing your eyes like that? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, don't wear your eyeliners like that. Don't wear it all underneath like the gothic people do. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be gothic. I'm trying to like tight line my waterline. And quiet as it's kept, it probably wasn't even that bad. Like, it wasn't that exaggerated, but just her saying like, to me, it felt like, don't express yourself. Don't come into your own. Like, don't put your waterline down here. Don't get into like that creepy ass gothic. You know, we don't do that over here. We're Christians, you know? And so, yeah, like me wanting to dress like more alternatively or darkly or like more edgier, like that wasn't allowed. I couldn't do that. Like the furthest I could probably do is maybe skinny jeans and a graphic t-shirt. And that was it. I remember my dad like freaked out a little bit when I wanted to get my first Metallica album, Ride the Lightning. Oh my God. He's like, why do you want that? And I was like, because it's cool. Because who doesn't want it? It's Metallica. Hello. So yeah, I think I'm coming to terms with now that I've always been like an alternative kid. Like, maybe it wasn't like super like trad goth coded, but like definitely more like punky, alt, edgy coded. And the furthest I go, again, is like graphic t-shirts and like skinny jeans, you know, but like graphic t-shirts of like things I liked in pop culture and media, like Sonic, you know what I mean? But I never like stepped outside of that. I remember I had a Joker and Harley Quinn t-shirt, and my family hated that shirt because like the Joker had like these red I tell you, I grew up with a bunch of Christians, right? Like my family were like hardcore Christians. So it was like the Joker holding Harley Quinn and she's dancing, you know, with him, I guess. And then the Joker has like these red eyes and he's like glaring at you, and they're like, why would you get this shirt? Like why are you wearing this shirt? This is like problematic. This is demonic. I don't understand why you'd wear something like this. And I'm just like, it's fine. Now I probably wouldn't wear any like Joker or Harley Quinn shirt just because of the cringe that comes behind it. And honestly, in all honesty, I never really liked Harley Quinn. But like regardless, like I, as a little black girl and black teenager trying to come into her own, I really did try to, you know how it goes in the beginning, guys. We always fix the eyebrows towards the end. I really tried to like come into my own and have some personality, but it never really worked out. And then as I got into college and I got older, I think my family realized that they couldn't control me in the way that they wanted to. So it was just a lot of shame. It was a lot of like, oh, well, you're not going to church anymore, so we're worried about your salvation. And so as I got older, I was so worried about like coming off as like demonic. Like if I was coming off as creepy or demonic, or like how I'd be perceived in the world. And I don't know, I feel like with a lot of things that are going on right now and me just kind of exploring things spiritually in my life, I feel like nothing's stopping me from really like getting into that aesthetic. Like I no longer care so much about what people think about me anymore. I care more so about what is comfortable for me. I hear this is a common phase for a lot of alt kids, is that they try to be alt when they're younger, which never happened for me because I wasn't allowed to be alternative, right? And then they grow out of it in like their mid to late 20s. Like they try to grow out of it in their mid to late 20s. And then they hit 30 and they're like, you know what, f it, I'm going back. And I think the same thing happened for me, because there was one point in my 20s where I was trying to give clean girl. I remember that so vividly. Like I was very much so trying to be like the clean girl aesthetic. I bought this little capsule wardrobe. I was wearing the gold hoops. I would have put Hailey Bieber to shame, on all honesty. And then after I got like all these outfits and I had them in my room and I tried them on, I was like, I don't like any of this actually. Like, I don't like, this isn't me. This isn't my personality. This isn't what I really want to give as a person. Like, this feels like a costume, especially coming from like an interesting subculture of like cosplay on the internet, where I was creating my own outfits and creating my own photo shoots and like cutting things together and like ripping fish tights into fishnets and doing like all this crazy stuff. I never really realized or considered myself alt then, but I figured that I was having like such a fun time just putting outfits together on my own and adding my own unique flair to it. You know, it just felt too sterile with me wearing my little gold hoops and my little dainty gold jewelry and rings and all black outfit. I didn't feel like myself. And so now I finally decided, you know what, I'm just gonna dress how I want to. I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. I'm going to do what pleases me, because life is like super short for me to actually care about what other people think and how other people feel I should be wearing certain things, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I've just kind of made the decision that when my finances are a little bit better and I can afford clothes, it's probably gonna be more on like the darker alternative route. I really like the clothes from Hot Topic, which is ironic because I'm like 31 years old talking about Hot Topic, but their Cosmic Aura line has some really cute like whimsigoth stuff. They do. And I used to hate whimsigoth, but I actually like it now. It actually like makes sense to me and the type of person I want to become. So I f with whimsigoth a little bit, but I don't know, dude. It's just on the quest to be myself and find myself. I also worry a lot about my age too, because there's a lot of ageism that happens nowadays. I did fall into that trap of, dang, I really want to dress the way I want to dress, but you know, what if I'm not dressing my age? And then I had to like backtrack and be like, who cares what is dressing your age? Real talk. Like, you're over here dressing your age and it feels like a costume wearing Lululemon and gold hoops. Why not just dress for your vibe? And I think that's my advice to anybody out here who is trying to find their personal style and is worried about like, am I too young or am I too old to get into this style? Really, just dress for your vibe. If you feel like you want to be an IG baddie at like 48, be an IG baddie at 48. Even though there is an uptick in people getting on like the baddie culture aesthetic, like just do you and do what makes you feel happy. Do what pleases you, okay? And that's what I'm realizing too, because you could very much so feel like you're wearing a costume when you conform. All right. And I don't know, people like me, women like me, by default, we were never going to conform. Just by the way we look, conforming wasn't in the stars for us. Okay. Like we would have never fit in. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. I'm happy that more people are dressing, I guess, edgier now. If I am gonna be like dressed more alternatively, I kind of want to do it with purpose. Like I want to be careful and cautious. I don't want to just like put on a band t-shirt and I not listen to the band. Like I don't want to be that person, but I don't know. We'll see how it evolves and develops. I'm just excited that I finally decided this is how I want to wear certain things. So yes. Oh God, the government is shutting down, guys. The government has shut down. There's a government shutdown right now. It's happening. I don't really have much to say except that I guess the government has shut down for 22 days. I've been keeping up with all the information and insight from Jasmine Crockett and her YouTube channel. Shout out to her. She's really laying down the groundwork for like what to expect when the government shuts down. And apparently she said, which was news to me, and I don't know how true this is, so I would look this up if I were you, okay? But she said that during the Trump administration, they've had the most government shutdowns within his administration. Like the Biden administration never had any government shutdowns. They might have had their issues, but they never had a shutdown. And every time Trump's in office, they always shut down the government for whatever reason. Something that's also news to me is I did not know that if you work for the government or a contract worker for the government, or if you like work in the hospitals or whatever, you don't get paid. Yeah, you don't get paid. But you still have to work, because you're working a part of the government. So you keep working and then you wait for the government to stop shutting down, and that's when they pay you. So you could go 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks without payment, depending on how long the shutdown lasts. It's been 22 days. Let me look up. How long has the government shutdown been? 21 days. It's been 21 days, and not around 900,000 employees have been furloughed. And the cause is expiration of continuing resolution from full year continuing appropriations and extensions act. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, times are hard. People are getting laid off from their jobs and in the companies that they work for. White collar government jobs are insecure, and even the jobs that are secure, a lot of people hate them. Like healthcare, a lot of folks feel like overworked and overwhelmed. 16 carriages. Like they do. They feel like it's just a lot of work to address. You know what I mean? Like people are tired and things are rough. And I think the government shutdown is going to prove that. We don't know how long the government is going to shut down, unfortunately, because people are worried like come November, the people who have SNAP benefits aren't going to be able to receive them, which, you know, potentially means a lot of people, a lot of parents might not be able to feed their children, which is also very unfortunate. It's just, I mean, I've said this before, y'all voted for this. Like, this is what y'all voted for. I didn't vote for this, you know, but y'all did. And one thing I can say about the Trump campaign is that they did a very good job in paying the right people to make y'all think that their opinion, their source of their opinion mattered because they seemed relatable enough to you, okay? When you have people like Joe Rogan and Logan Paul and Aiden Ross over here, influencers that have captured the eyes of the audience for God knows how long, who have developed very strong fan bases where their fans probably resonated with them, quote unquote relatable, you know, or just like them, able to live this dream of being like these Vine stars and eventually being able to create like multi-million-dollar empires. People start to develop parasocial relationships. People start to get attached, right? And so if they hear someone like a Logan Paul say, I'm gonna vote for Trump, yeah, by default they're probably gonna vote for them. If they see someone like an Aiden Ross who seemingly looks like they don't really come from much, but is actually making multi-million-dollar brand deals, they're going to relate to an Aiden Ross saying, I'm going to vote for Trump over, I don't know, Rilla saying that they're going to vote for Biden, you know what I mean? Or doing an interview with Biden. The whole Trump campaign really specialized in taking down mainstream media and platforming independent media. But I think where they fell weak, and I think what people are starting to realize is that even though they have made an effort or a whole campaign around taking down mainstream media, is that just because one party is trying to prioritize a more independent sources over mainstream sources doesn't mean that they aren't going to play the same shady games that mainstream sources have been playing for a while. Like, just because you have someone like a Candace Owens say, oh, you know, Trump is for the people, Trump is for mainstream media. If she does say that, right, it still doesn't mean that she isn't getting paid off, or that she wouldn't get paid off from a particular side to have those viewpoints. And the same way mainstream media, CNN, gets paid off to, you know, by default align with the Democrats. Like, you do realize a good chunk of these people, these like big people in mainstream media, they get paid to have these opinions, okay? They get paid to say, vote for Trump. They get paid to say these things, to dibble and dabble into politics. And the same way the most unrelatable of unrelatable celebrities out here are doing interviews with Joe Biden himself. You know what I mean? It's no different. And I think people are clouded by the fact that, oh, Logan Paul was just like me at one point, a high school kid, and now he's in LA, and, you know, that's the American dream. Joe Rogan just has such wisdom and knowledge, and he's just a dude in a studio talking his shit. Like, people get so blinded by that nonsense that they forget the fact that these folks are rich and wealthy. They're going to fill their pockets and fatten up their pockets first before they fatten up anybody else's pockets. Okay, they will lead you down the trenches of hell if it means that their pockets will be fattened. They will tell you, eat sugar-coated nails for breakfast and you'll be guaranteed to be buff and swole, bro, if it means that they will get millions upon millions of dollars in all these brand deals and sponsorships, in the same way that mainstream media has always done. I don't know why people think that independent media, once it got popular, it would somehow be better. No, like, it's a lot more accessible. Like, you can sit on your ass all day and shoot the shit and talk about your opinions and thoughts, and maybe maybe a big company might come around and be like, and throw a couple dollars your way to have an opinion, and so then you get yourself out of poverty, right? You're still doing the same shady practices that like Hollywood has done for years. It's just that they've changed the landscape. So yeah, now that we're seeing the aftermath of everything, now that a lot of people are regretting their votes, as we thought everyone would say would happen, now that a lot of people are like in poverty and struggling, I don't know where we go from here. I don't know. I think this is just America's karma, unfortunately. It's unfortunate that I have to be a part of this and that I'm affected by it, but at this point, it's life. It is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah, I don't know really what to tell you. I'm not saying that we should be like fully centrist. There's some things that we shouldn't, like, there's some things I feel like you can't be too centrist on. One thing that is like very aggravating is that the first thing that we do when things don't go right or our way is blame the opposing side. I think we need to start looking from within and holding ourselves accountable. Like, it isn't the libs' fault that everything's going to now. Like, we're in a staunchly Republican administration right now. Like, it's all Republican, it's all conservative. At this point, it's y'all. It's not the libs doing anything. So like, let's not create that agenda, because it's not happening. Like, y'all won, so go be sore losers, I guess. Like, I don't know what to say. But anyway, next topic. Let's do a mood lightener, like a palate cleanser. I want to keep people down. So remember how I talked about Doja Cat's V a couple weeks ago, and how I thought that album was amazing, and how it was going to do numbers, and how I thought it was so great, and and all of that? Like, remember when I had that conversation? Okay, well, fast forward a couple weeks later, I am more than willing to admit when I was wrong. And in this case, not only was I wrong, but I was loud and wrong, because apparently Doja Cat's 5th studio album, V, that takes a lot of sounds from the 80s funk and soul, Janet Jackson, Tina Marie, Prince type of aesthetic, that album is flopping in regards to the numbers. It's flopping. It's not doing too well. It failed to reach the Billboard, and it's not doing well in streaming or any of that. I want to take the time to talk about why that potentially is happening, like some of the reasons, because I feel like outside of certain circumstances, this album would have performed well. One of the theories I have as to why it's not performing as well, non-controversial theories, is probably because she's gonna tour this album next year. Maybe the numbers will do a lot better, do much better than they are now. I don't know if that was a good idea. I'm gonna blend this in. Believe in me, guys. I've said that I really like Doja Cat, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna take that away. I like her music, but I also think me not talking about her controversies would be in bad faith. And I think that's a lot of the reason why this album isn't doing as well as I believe she expected it to do. And everybody, like, I guess her fans whatever fans she has left. First and foremost, girl, the controversies, okay? Like, her twerking on group chats with white supremacists, her with the Nazi shirts, her, you know, making it very clear that like the edgelord trolley humor that she grew up on is kind of trickling into like her celebrity life, and people are just confused. I've always had the belief that we're a lot harder on women when it comes to that than we are on men, because you look at Kanye West, right? And he's been able to maintain a fully fledged career. Sure, he's ostracized now, finally, maybe when the money isn't good, but he's been able to maintain a full, like, you know, strong, healthy career with all his wacky conspiracy theories, him being platformed by Nick Fuentes, he being platformed by, what's his name? Tucker Carlson, platformed by all these problematic people, and be able to, I guess, speak his truth and say all these problematic things, and people still support him. People be able to let him come with open arms into like the Christian spiritual music genre where he's making gospel albums and all that. Men like Kanye just keep getting excuses after excuses after excuses to be problematic AF, right? Okay. And I think a lot of it comes from him being a man. And men just like, you know, holding loyalty towards someone like a Kanye because maybe they resonate with them. Whereas someone like a Doja Cat, people aren't gonna want to with her, even if it was just a one and done mistake of her twerking in a group chat, especially around the time when that was happening, when cancel culture was like really, really big and we were canceling people left and right. That already put a sour taste in people's mouth. Her saying slurs and her being like, I don't care, I'm not gonna apologize and all of that nonsense. Her just doing like repeated like little problematic things that made people like really not want to rock with her. But then still, someone like a Chris Brown still gets to have a career, even though we all know that he lays hands on any woman he steps into, he comes across, or that he is into. We just know that is a fact. Like, he just lays hands on women, right? So I think a lot of the little controversies Doja Cat got into has really put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth and make them not really want to mess with her, even if her music is good. And I feel like some of the things that she's done and said has built a case up against her for people to believe that she does not like the ethnic side of herself. And honestly, if I were to be like fair about this, if the father that you came from was a person of color and he is not in your life in the way that you would like him to be, you might not necessarily be so resentful towards your race or that side of your race, but you might harbor resentment towards that father, right? And then by default, you're probably getting raised by your like white mom. And so you're kind of immersed in that culture and like all of the potentially problematic things that come from it. You know what I mean? So that's my defense. Not really a defense, just kind of like breaking down why she might feel that way, though honestly, it's not my business. But I think a really big one as to why Doja Cat hasn't been really successful in this era is that people are tired of her nonsense, bro. Like, this woman don't like her fans. She don't like y'all. She don't like me. She don't like you. It was proven when that guy gave her a t-shirt and she was like, I was so uncomfortable. Like, I don't know why he approached me and all of that. And it's like, first of all, we really don't know what happened and if that man actually did make her uncomfortable, for one. But two, it's like time and time again, she's told us like, you know, y'all were stupid if you like my pop music. I want to be a hip hop artist now, and Scarlet, rah, you know, and then just lashing out on her fans and saying, if you're a kitten, you're a dumbass, and all of this like weird stuff. And I feel like if you are a celebrity and if you are an entertainer, like one of the things that you should prioritize the most is how you're being perceived by your fans. Like, your fans are bread and butter, honestly. What's keeping Nicki Minaj still staying afloat is the Delulu barbs. Okay, and that's telling because Onika is a problematic figure. Okay, so like, you ostracizing your fans and you being like, oh my god, I hate you guys so much, or oh my god, you're idiots for liking my Scarlet or my pop pink, my pop hip hop era. Like, people are not going to want to support you as much if you keep on them, or like for being supporters of your music. And then another issue is like, a lot of her fans are mostly like white people. Like, she's kind of been, even though I consider her hip hop, a lot of hip hop does not consider her hip hop, but has let Drake sit comfortable, very comfortable in the hip hop genre for years, even though he tailors more of his stuff towards pop, like pop music a little bit, but like whatever. But you know, a lot of folks I feel like never really saw her as hip hop because, first of all, the audience that of hip hop she has made it very clear that she's not really like attracted to that particular audience, and also like a lot of her fans aren't Black people, hip hop fans, you know what I mean? So I don't know. She's always been like ostracized for that, as seen as a pop artist first that can rap and not a hip hop artist, which has always been very weird to me. But I also think that because she has hated on her fans for so long, and because she's been so judgmental around her fans, I really do believe that is why people are not really receiving this era well. Also, when you have Chaperone and Sabrina Carpenter tapping into their 80s bag, it feels a little bit like a cash grab. It doesn't feel that authentic. I don't know. I know this is like the cleanup era for her. A lot of entertainers and musicians go through this era where, you know, they're dirty, they're grungy, they adultify themselves through taboo aesthetics, taboo subcultures that aren't deemed as, you know, family friendly. And then after they go through that whole era, they do their apology era or their cleanup era. Apparently Justin Bieber did it when he was running the streets with all the hip hop artists and wreaking havoc on everybody and just being an awful little And then Madonna's done it before. I'm pretty sure Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera both did it as well. Yeah, Christina definitely did it because she did her 30 era where she was super tan and dreadlocks and all of that, and then she just rebranded herself into like some 1930s like singer bimbo type of character, you know what I mean? I think this is Doja Cat cleanup era. This V, like, that's going to reintroduce her into pop music and be almost like, I guess, an apology to her fans for like alienating them. Honestly, I think it's too late. I think people are tired of her, and it's very hard to capture the interest of audiences nowadays. So I still like her music, but I think her as a person, I don't know, she has to learn how to like her fans. And I think that's probably why V is flopping, is that the fans are just not feeling it anymore. Like, there's only so much you can do or say towards your fans to be like, I don't, you guys make me feel uncomfortable. You know, you guys are idiots for liking this type of music that I've created, before people are like, okay, girl, bet, we'll find somebody else. You know what I mean? I don't know. So yeah, V is flopping. That's unfortunate, but I'm not really surprised. So is what it is. Next topic. I want to take a moment to talk about baddie culture and the evolution of it and how I think some baddies have lost their way. Baddie culture always seemed weirdly, like, officially unofficial to me, if that makes any sense. Like, being a baddie, the way people, especially in like Black spaces, categorize baddies is not in the way that I would categorize a baddie. Of course, you have the show that's on Zeus Network called Baddies. I don't watch that show. I don't support that shit. I'm worried about all those women, but that's a topic for another day. But I find it very interesting how, like, back in the day, back in like 2010s, a baddie was someone who always had their makeup on point, who had their outfits on point, and it really didn't matter like what aesthetic or genre of bad you were still considered a baddie. So you could be an alt baddie, you could be a Fashion Nova type baddie, you could be, you know, a clean girl minimalist baddie, you know what I mean? And it still gave bad and you were still a baddie. Nowadays, baddie culture in Black spaces has boiled down to the Ari Fletcher, Jada Wada type of aesthetic. And now there's a lot more backlash to baddie culture. I've heard talking points of baddie culture aging the youth. I've heard talking points of baddie culture being a detriment to the Black community. Baddie culture ruining our perception of how we see the world. Baddie culture doing this, baddie culture doing that. And if I could have the unpopular opinion here, first and foremost, I don't think a lot of baddies are those who all look like Fashion Nova models. Like I said beforehand, I identify a lot of baddies as having their own unique style that works for them, and people look at that and be like, oh shit, like, I want to dress like her, she's cool, she's dope, she has a vision, right? I never saw it as just Fashion Nova models, period, right? Or like Kim Kardashian, period. I always saw it as big and vast. So I never really saw anything wrong with wanting to call somebody a baddie or being worried that you were falling into the demographic of baddie culture, right? To me, it feels like us being critical of this genre of aesthetics, it's rooted in misogyny, for one, and I think it's rooted in a lot of anti-Blackness, because when being a bad or an Instagram bad became more accessible to Black people, like when Jada Wada and Ari Fletcher really took off with it, and it was no longer exclusive to like the Kardashian clan or the Kardashian lookalikes, that's when I feel like people started to get a lot more critical. And sure, maybe people have had these talking points of, you know, there are a lot of young girls nowadays who don't even want to wear their natural hair because they're on social media and they see these girls always have their wigs slayed to the gods by Arrogant Tay. So now they're 14, 15 years old and they don't even want to wear their natural hair. Like, that's a great argument. And I think at a young age, you should probably wear your natural hair, not because it looks too grown up, not because it looks too grown or you look fast wearing a wig, but because you really want to learn how to take care of your own natural hair before you put like fake hair into it or hair that's not yours into it. But I also feel like there is a need to dismantle a lot of aesthetics that Black women have originated. You know what I mean? Because even when the Kardashians were dipping into the wig aesthetic and dipping into like that Fashion Nova type of look, like we've already kind of created and invented those looks, and those looks had been trademarked like in our local like city trends or our local Rainbow. Like you could find a Fashion Nova fit for a fraction of a cost on the Rainbow website now. I've said this before, but Fashion Nova is just Rainbow with better marketing and BBL girlies. Because I do think there are some call outs on how people feel like they have to change their face in order to fit a certain aesthetic, change their bodies in order to look a certain way, in order to be deemed acceptable. But I also think that it kind of steps a little too far when we start people who like to wear lace fronts, when we start on people who just truly like that style, and when we start lumping all baddies into this specific niche and look of a woman, when realistically all type of genres of women can be considered quote unquote baddies, in my humblest opinion. Now, I say all that to say to talk about the baddies of yesteryear and what has become of them and why this has happened, because at best, the positive turnout of bad bitch on the internet is an Ari Fletcher and Jada Wada. Whether you love or hate those women, arguably they have been able to make a successful empire by being Instagram models, okay? And they have done so in a way where they can leverage the groundwork and framework for how they want to come off in the internet space. It never feels like they are 5 steps ahead. It always feels like they're 5 steps forward and people follow. All right. And I think that's the reason I personally feel like, and again, with the misogyny of it all, I feel like that's the reason why people are just now talking about baddie culture and how it's aging the youth and affecting people and negatively impacting people, because now it's become more accessible to Black women. And I do feel like there is a need to humble Black women who obtain any sort of success, even under the circumstances where they're not allowed to get it, where they're not rewarded for their bad actions to get it, or presumably bad actions to get it. Both Jada Wada and Ari Fletcher are baby mamas to popular rappers, I believe. That has been villainized a ton in the Black community, like absolutely villainized. If you become a single baby mama, you're good as useless, even though now we know that sometimes it really is out of your control. Seems like it's closer to being unavoidable to end up being a single baby mama, even if you quote unquote do everything right. But these girls didn't do everything right, and they have been able to leverage themselves as pillars in the new age of Instagram influencers. However, the baddies of yesteryear, the India Love Westbrooks and the Brittany Renners, the millennial, like the true millennial bad bitch, I feel like they lost their way. And it's very disappointing to see and almost embarrassing to see, because they really should have been the girls to do what Jada and Ari have done to like an exceptional level. Like, I remember folks would talk about India Love Westbrook like she was going to be like the Black Kim K. She had her own reality TV show at one point where I think they were setting her up to be like that type of person. I don't know what exactly happened there, but I feel like where she is now, because she's closer to my age than she is, I think, like Jada Wada or Ari Fletcher, right? And to see her chasing after garbo men like DDG, and she sit up on podcasts and be like, oh, well, you know, there's a girl that turns 18 every single year, so you got to keep yourself up. Like, girl, like, do you not know who you are? Do you not know what you represent? Do you not know that there were men, the men that you are chasing after, these young boys that you are chasing after, used to have you as like a poster or as like a saved separate list on their Instagram, and you're over here on their podcast making a damn fool out of yourself and chasing them? Like supporting someone like a DDG? Like what happened? Like, you should have been on the Real Housewives at this point. Like, you should have had your own show, had your own empire, dating advice, like, here's what it is, ladies, how these men really act. You should have had like what's her name, the video vixen in the 2000s that came out with the book, Catherine Stevens, Superhead. That should have been you. Like, why are you over here chasing after these niggas that, again, probably don't even know where the clit is? Really? Like, you should not have to. Like, there should have been like a new generation of like Real Housewives where it would have been India Love Westbrook, Brittany Renner, and all the Alexis Sky, all the old school IG baddies taking on that role. You know, that's where Bravo messed up, honestly, isn't creating a show with those women in order to get a younger audience. And I guess that's where Zeus, unfortunately, is thriving. Again, still not a fan of Zeus. We'll evangelize that till the cows come home. I am definitely not a fan of Zeus, okay? I don't like what they do. But it's just so unfortunate and almost like embarrassing to see like how she has been acting and chasing after like these men. And then with Brittany Renner, because I'm not done, girl. We're gonna go through all of them. Brittany Renner doing this whole like religious rebrand and reboot in order to capture the attention of not a billionaire out in Dubai, at the very least. Not somebody who could really set her up nice and good if she played her cards right, but a rapper. Kevin Gates? I'm not gonna lie, Kevin Gates sounds like a fun time, not a good time. For those of y'all who don't know, Brittany Renner went through this whole like religious rebrand where she became Muslim and she started wearing hijabs in the car and all of that. And at first, everyone thought, oh, this is genuine. This is really what she wants to do. Lo and behold, she's doing all of this to capture the attention of a male rapper, Kevin Gates, who already has like a relationship with his ex-wife and his kids. So already it was probably looking a little clunky. And then after that relationship ended, hijab gone, Muslim no more. Hijab gone, Muslim no more. So you changed your whole religion, went through a whole not even authentic spiritual journey for a man, not even a man worth a damn, not even like an athlete, but a rapper who we know high-key rappers probably don't even have money like that. If I'm being honest, like the whole music industry is like a sham. So I don't even know why she thought that would work out. But her being this like subservient queen, doing this borderline, and I hate saying this word, it makes me sound chronically online, but like a legitimate humiliation ritual in order to entertain this man, walking behind him, doing all of these traditional, I guess, Muslim woman type of duties for this man, going on stream and embarrassing herself for him, only for him not to want to marry her in the end, only for her son not to have a father figure or like a father adjacent figure for her when it's all said and done in the end. Like, oh my God, like, why are you doing, like, you are the Brittany Renner. You used to be in your car ranting about male nature. You were the OG sprinkle. I thought her, of all people, would definitely be that girl on her MacBook Pro going live talking about some sprinkle before Shira 7 date. I thought that would be her. And she had the resources to do so. I thought she would be on YouTube, start vlogging, start a business. And she did have like her little athletic line, her leggings line business, but like none of that happened. And it seems like her whole rebrand as like, you know, retired IG baddie has been her more or less chasing after men. Because even before Kevin Gates, she was on a podcast with Andrew Tate and Pearly Things talking about love and relationships in a way that seems very like, I'm sorry, it seems very like pick me, choose me ish. Like, that's what it seems like. Now she's over here crashing out apparently because her baby dad's isn't paying enough child support, I guess. Which is $5,000. Like $5,000 isn't enough for her to support her kid. And I guess he's married off with another woman. Girl, I don't know. I don't get into all the baby dad drama. But again, like these OG retired baddies, what happened? How did you lose your way? How did this come to fruition? How could you let this happen? You literally had the internet in your hands. People more than willing to support you and your mindset and your aesthetic. You could have sold a whole ebook on how to run game on these men before Gorgeous Doll did. And you're not doing that. And it's interesting because I think something we can say, if anything we should say about baddie culture outside of like critiquing the aesthetics of, which I think is stupid. I think this should be a case study and not making or developing a legacy on your own where you no longer feel like you have to maintain yourself and position yourself in a way where you have to chase after relevant people in order to garner relevancy yourself, where you don't feel like you have to crash out in your car because your baby dad's isn't paying enough child support because you have your own. I think for the future IG baddies out there, okay, advice to y'all, I would say if you're gonna do it, because you know people are gonna do it anyway, move like the Jada Waiters and the Ari Fletchers of the world, where they're not riding waves, they're creating it. I feel like the India Love Westbrooks and the Brittany Renners of the world rode the wave, rode what was relevant, and almost kind of had something when they started their own reality TV shows. They got special casting on reality TV shows. They were in their car spitting game on how like these men work and how these athletes work. You know, they almost had it like an empire that people can support, right? Almost had it, almost, okay? But then they lost it by chasing after a man. And I think as an IG baddie, already these men will probably fap to you anyway. Just understand that you already have the power, you have the cards. You do not have to chase after these dudes. You don't have to be close to 40 chasing after like 25, 28-year-olds. Like that's weird. That's embarrassing. And you don't need to do that. You're the one who has all the power. You're the one who can leverage a lot. And honestly, it's just very unfortunate to see. Like, I don't know, it's a case study. But yeah, that's not on that. Like, the evolution of baddies is interesting. Anyway. TikTok. I have a little bit of a TikTok addiction, okay? And I caved and I re-downloaded TikTok. And I shouldn't have done that, but I did. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I do like the occasional think piece here and there, and I like being informed about like random things going on in the world. And I especially think when it comes to like big life-changing decisions that you're gonna probably make it, that you're considering making in your life, like having kids, starting a family, or like being in a relationship or whatever. I think TikTok's great for that because it allows people to like speak authentically about their experience in having kids and their experience in like relationships and all of that, especially for women. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm gonna just be real here. TikTok isn't fun anymore sometimes. Like TikTok really isn't like a fun app as it used to be. Like in the 2020s, it was just people making cute dances and then we would celebrate them for being cute on the internet or doing that weird Pixar dance in their cosplay, you know what I mean? And we'd be like, yeah, that's cute, you know? And now it's gotten to like a whole bunch of think pieces, like overload of think pieces, and then an overload of like unnecessary information. It feels like TikTok is the place where people either get too desperate or they get too lonely. And so you have like the think pieces that sometimes, you know, are interesting, but then you also have the think pieces where it comes to a point, like it actually comes to a point and you're like, okay, girl, are you just lonely? Like, do you need a friend to tell this to? Because it's really none of our business. You have people who kind of have like the worst takes, like takes that we've already went over on the internet. I remember one dude got online and was like, women, if you're so afraid of getting assaulted, why don't you just cover up more? Or why don't you just put some more clothes on, right? Which is like I thought in 2015 with the Me Too movement, we already addressed why that is a dumb argument. Like, why are we having the same conversation again? And why is somebody's Gen X auntie co-signing this nonsense online? Doesn't she have grandchildren to take care of? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. But then also, people just get way too comfortable on there. People start recording. I feel like TikTok is a place where we allow and co-sign individuals to just record individuals at random, just random people walking down the street, existing, being snarky and awful to people. I saw one dude who like was two-faced, recorded himself complimenting a girl who had done her hair in a very eclectic way. She had like bold pink, yellow on hair and like these really big sections, and she was really proud of herself. And he like recorded himself being like, hey, what are you wearing? That's really cute. And then when she left, after she like showed off her hair and stuff, he was like, that's the worst look I've ever seen in my life. Like, just embarrassing people, recording people without their consent, or people just get way too comfortable on that app where they start to expose more and more of their personal life in a way where it gets to the point of trauma dumping and oversharing. And I don't know, that just makes the app not fun anymore. The woman who found out that her husband was cheating when she was on a cruise ship, who went on TikTok live and started crashing out in real time about her cheating husband. And everyone just watched the show ensue, right? She was vulnerable. She was sad. She was talking about how her parents, like none of her parents came to support her or came to her aid to want to help her. So she was basically on her own by herself crashing out, which is awful. I don't know what relationship you have with your kid, but I don't know. Some parents are weird in thinking that they stop raising their kid once they reach a certain age. If my parents did not respond in a supportive way over me finding out that my husband has cheated not just on me with one woman but several women, and my dad was like, oh, you're gonna be fine, suck it up, or my mom was like, I don't even want to mess with you, but no contact, like we don't have to, like. And it's so sad because she's talking about how she's been on her own for so long, how she's been kind of like taken advantage of at a young age, and she wasn't looking for anybody. She was kind of fine on her own, and then this man comes in and just it all up. This man who she married, she finds out has been sleeping with not just like a bunch of other women, but he's also been sleeping with like one of her best friends, allegedly. So she's crashing out. She has no one to go to, which is so sad about this whole situation. She goes on TikTok live in her wedding dress, spinning around, drinking some sort of alcoholic like liquor bottle beverage, I don't know, and crying about how nobody wants to rock with her, and that her husband had taken her kids away, like CPS had taken her kids away, and so like she literally has nobody, no friends to help and support her. And it's just so sad because, you know, she's like vulnerable, and the first thing she does, because of just how effed up things are in the world and how, you know, conditioned we are to just bring everything to the internet before we actually go and help another individual, how conditioned we are in talking about wanting a community before actually being members, a part of a community, right? She's online and on the internet, and instead of people being like, you know what, I'm gonna do a wellness check on this girl, I'm gonna call her up personally, they're just like online watching the chaos ensue, making commentary about it. I'm making commentary about it. You know what I mean? And it's just super, super unfortunate because, you know, where are friends? Where are people coming in and helping individuals? Where is just decent decorum of like, you know, maybe I don't need to film. Oh my God, I forgot to contour on the sides. Maybe I don't need to, you know, watch this person crash out. Maybe I should just give her respect. Maybe I should be there to support. Maybe I should get on live with her. Why didn't anybody get on live with her? And then when she found out all the other women that her husband had cheated on with, like she found them and put them on a call, they're all just laughing about the moment, like he ha ha, he slept with me too, girl. Like I don't know, it was just really sad. And I guess to go into my next topic real quick, because she mentioned how she was a lover girl at heart, right? Like she just loves unconditionally and she's like very romantic and all of that. I don't know if being a lover girl is really it. I don't know if it's it. I've never been a lover girl. I've never been like a super romantic type of person. I know when I fall in love with people, I fall in love hard, but the older I get, the more I realize that falling in love with people, like actually falling in love with people is a performance and it's fun to do, but staying in love with somebody is an exercise and it's a challenge, and that isn't the performance. It's like a lifestyle, you know, like that's where you have to prove and pour into that relationship every day and work on supporting that relationship. But then on top of that, like you just working at the relationship and pouring into somebody is more difficult than you just falling in love with someone, getting them flowers, getting them roses, and like performing a version of what somebody wants to perceive you as or perceive the idea of you as, if that makes any sense. You know, I feel like being a lover boy or a lover girl is very dangerous in that you try to conform to what your partner wants you to be without actually asking yourself if this is actually what you want. And then you're so into like the romantic, like the flowers, the beautiful trips, the date nights and all like that, but like almost like the superficial aspect of it all, that we're not really like unpacking or peeling back the layers of like, what do you need as a partner? Like what is going to sustain this relationship? Like I said, I think it's very easy for people to fall in love with people but like the act of staying in love is way, way more difficult. I wouldn't be enamored with the lover boy, lover girl type of energy. It just, I don't know. And that's just not who I am as a person. Like, I'm trying to be like more considerate and more like loving, you know, but I just don't see the benefit in cosplaying this ideal partner for somebody who probably, you know, might pick up and leave one day. Like, I don't see the benefit. So anyway, yeah, TikTok isn't fun anymore. I hope that that woman was able to heal and like find like someone to support her. I hope she was able to get her kids back. And you know, I wish TikTok was a different place sometimes. I wish there was a space for like a separate category, because at the top they have categories for like STEM, for you, and then other stuff, right? I wish there was a category for like think pieces, and then all the think pieces would just kind of go there. You know, they can get intense. It really does come to a point. And then I wish they would make more of an effort to ban people who film other individuals without their consent. So yeah, I also probably have to get on TikTok again. I'm probably gonna yap with the best of them. I'm probably gonna be a professional TikTok yapper myself. It is what it is. So here I go talking about how TikTok's not fun anymore because everyone talked too damn much, and here I go making plans to talk too damn much with them. So yeah, contradiction. Anyway, next topic. I love Brat. Charli XCX's Brat, that is one of my favorite pop albums, okay? It's trending because of the feud with her and Taylor Swift. Like, they're going back and forth, I guess, because Charli XCX came out with Sympathy is a Knife, which was basically her saying that she'll never be like a Taylor Swift, like she can't be, and she wishes she was, right? And why does the music industry pit us against each other? It wasn't really a diss, it was her being vulnerable and honest, and Taylor took that as a diss. We talked about it last episode. And so she came out with Actually Romantic, which was awful, which proved the allegations of Charli XCX calling her boring blonde Barbie or whatever, BBB, right? And then from that, because I guess everybody realized Life of the Showgirl wasn't that good, and that it was actually kind of a mean album, everybody retaliated by listening to Brat again and listening to Sympathy and Knife again, just to get back at Taylor, which I think is hilarious, because you think people would be like, oh my God, Actually Romantic, oh my God, that's a hit. But none of the girls said that. And all the girls were like, you know what? Let's listen to Brat one more time. Let's listen to Sympathy is a Knife. So Brat is getting new fans, right? People are like, wait a minute, where has this Charli XCX person been? Like, oh my God, like she is a genius, you know? And everyone's losing their mind listening to Sympathy is a Knife. And me, who has been a Charli XCX fan since like 2019, right? I knew about her in 2014, but I didn't take her seriously as an artist until like 2019, and when she changed her sound. One second. Yeah, so everyone's figuring out that Charli XCX has hits. Honey, like she has hits, like she's good. And like some of the old Charli XCX fans are like, I'll never forgive y'all for thinking that I was playing Transformer sex music when I put on Charli XCX. And like, girl, I get it, because her new stuff was so weird and so experimental and kind of introduced me to the hyperpop sound. But I feel like if we're going to introduce this subculture of a music genre like hyperpop, originated by pillars in the music industry like Sophie, right? I feel like Charli XCX is the perfect candidate for that. The perfect candidate to introduce the girls to hyperpop, right? We've heard hyperpop aesthetics with the song Gnarly by Cat's Eye, which if you don't get it, like if you don't get the song, like what the song's trying to do, I don't know what to tell you. It's really, hyperpop is really like the girls that get it type of energy. Like if you don't get it, just shut the fuck up and listen to something else, girl. I don't know what to tell you, okay? But I'm just so happy that that music genre is getting a lot of accolades, getting a lot of attention. Charli XCX is getting the notoriety that she deserves, because she really, like, Brat, even though it's like a fun pop album to dance to, I can understand why she feels the way she feels, because she's been in the industry for a decade making weird experimental music that now labels her as like this cool girl and is brand friendly. But back then, like if you were to listen to Vroom Vroom or Click back then, you'd be like, what the f*** am I listening to? God, those are my favorite songs. Those are my favorite songs. But I just love Charlie XCX so much. And I love that Brad is getting notoriety. We need more experimental pop artists. I don't know what happened with Rina Sawayama, but we need her back. She needs to make a resurgence. I don't know how that's going to happen, but apparently they had beef. I hope they work their beef out. I don't know. I wanted to talk about that. Please go stream Brad. It's a very good album. If I had to put like a theme to the Brad album, I would have to say very Paris Hilton, very Nicole Richie, very Y2K Simple Life coded, very like you're a dirty, trashy celebrity in the early 2000s and the tabloids are hounding your ass as you go to the next club on Rodeo Drive or whatever. Like that's the energy that it gives, and it's very like fun dance poppy. Please go stream it. It's probably one of my favorite albums. I'm definitely gonna have to get the vinyl. I really wanted a collector's vinyl. I don't know how I'm gonna get that, but yeah, I love Charlie XCX down. Love her down. Oh my god, she's so cool. So cool. Okay, to end my music takes, all right, I want to talk about an artist named Hemlock Springs. Okay, I love Hemlock Springs. All right, I have to take a deep dive into her discography again, but I like how weird she is. I don't know, I feel like we'd be friends in Connecticut for some reason. I don't know, she just gives me that vibe. She's like very, like her music just reminds me of like girls just stinking around in their bedroom, but it's like very like 80s. I know that she was an opener for Chappell Roan, and her debut album is coming soon, and I'm excited to see what that sounds like. And apparently it's going to be talking about topics of religious oppression, growing up in a Nigerian African household, and a lot of other things. And I'm excited for it. You know, I'm not Nigerian American myself, I'm African American, but I'm pretty sure I can resonate to a lot of the topics that she's talking about. With that, I will say, please, when the album drops, and I'll probably bring it up again, please go stream Hemlock Springs. I don't know, she's important. Like, we need her. And her vibes are like so weird and eclectic. Very, very much gives weird black girl energy, which is what I like. I need more weird black girls. Okay, I can't be the only one. And I know I'm not the only one, but I want to see weird black girls in music that maybe aren't like necessarily cool yet, but are like endearing in their weirdo behaviors and their like neurospicy behaviors. When the album drops, I will announce it again, but go stream Hemlock Springs for now so you get an idea of the type of music she makes, and go support her regardless, because I don't know. She just seems like that girl to me. She seems like that girl, okay? To piggyback off of what I was talking about last week about how I don't want to have children anymore, like I'm leaning more and more towards wanting to be child free, and I actually want to be child free. Like I don't want these children. I don't want to contribute to the issues that we're having with children now, and I will gladly be a part of the declining birth rates, even though I don't believe that's true. I feel like people are having more and more kids as we speak. I also want to talk about more of like a technical reason why I don't want to have kids that I did not touch base on. No one talks about how traumatizing childbirth actually is. Like, nobody talks about it. And even the mothers who've had kids, that like all of them now will say, yeah, childbirth was very traumatizing. Stories about women whose clits don't work properly. I've been talking about clits a lot. The clitoris is going to be the theme of this episode, because I'm just talking about it like a lot this time around. But a lot of the girls talking about how their clitoris doesn't work because when the baby came out, it tore them from the front up. And so that just doesn't work. I've heard of when the baby comes out, it can tear you from like T to A, and so they have to sew that part up too. And I've heard of women that are dying. But on more of a serious level, and to put on my woke pants again, that's gonna work. That's gonna work today. It's very long. Okay, I know what I need to do. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Yes. All right, I'm gonna do the other eye and clean it up. Okay, we all know that abortion, the right to having an abortion, has been given up to the state, which is just an elaborate way of declining the woman's right to have a safe abortion in every single state in the US, right? So that like if you're in a red state, like I'm in a red state right now, you could be denied the right to an abortion or lose your medical license for an abortion if you are past the 9-week pregnancy limit, right? And there have been women that have actually died from this, because, you know, they've had an abortion within 9 weeks and they've taken the pill. You know, all the stuff that comes out from the pill, like the fetus and all of that, is still inside of them. They can't get the care they need, so they end up dying on the operating table. You have women who, you know, really want to have kids and end up miscarrying in any term. And so I really want to talk about that specifically, because I feel like when we make these laws and we're not talking to medical experts as to what is the purpose of creating like these laws to harm women's fertility. One of the biggest reasons why I don't want to have kids anymore is because even if I actively did want to have children, right? Like I really wanted to be pregnant, I really wanted to bring a baby to term. Even if I actively did want to do that, there is potential that I could miscarry and there could be complications in the pregnancy. I could have a high risk pregnancy to the point that if I'm in a red state giving birth, I might die on the operating table with my baby. Because already childbirth is a traumatizing experience that not a lot of women haven't talked about before. I'm glad we're talking about it now. But if there are any pregnancy complications where it might be that the baby will miscarry, I can still end up dead on the operating table because people don't have the say so or the okay to perform the procedures needed to terminate pregnancies. I just discovered that late term abortions, and shame on me because I should have known this, I'm a woman, right? Late term abortions only happen not because a woman just doesn't want a baby at 8 months pregnant or 7 months pregnant, which was what a lot of like these free thinkers, libertarian type Republicans want to convince you is going on. No, what is actually going on is that there was a high risk pregnancy to begin with. Okay, pregnancy was high risk. Everybody knew about it, and because the pregnancy is high risk and there are complications and they foresee that the baby isn't going to survive, they perform late stage abortions to ensure that at the very least, the mother will be saved if the baby can no longer make it. So if we're not allowed to do stuff like abortions for whatever reason, if a woman miscarries or any of that, there are going to be a lot of women who are actively trying to have children who end up dead on the operating table, who end up dying because we let a bunch of folks who don't know how the woman's reproductive system works, who don't know how these medical procedures work, come in and say, well, no, you have to bring the full baby to term and an abortion is sin and an abortion is wrong. And it's so sad because so many men who want to be dads, men that I've actually spoken to, okay, so many men out here are like, oh yeah, well, it's the divine woman's right. Like, this is what she's meant to do, is have babies and a couple kids and give birth and want, all this dumb BS nonsense, right? Don't even understand that part of the procedures of pregnancies is that the pregnancy might not come to full term and the baby might die in the womb. And that's just life. It just happens. And so procedures need to be done to ensure that at the very least the mother won't die. They don't even understand that, bro. So yeah, no, I don't want to have kids over the sole fact that I could really end up dead on the operating table now. Like, it's not even funny. Like, the way I have been so scared about my body and like having sex and stuff, because I'm just so worried that a situation is going to happen. Like, I'm just so worried about it. Like, one, I'm not ready to be a mother. Okay. And I feel like a lot of the reason why people are convincing you that there's a birth decline and we need to have more kids and make babies is because they need more workers, and people are getting smarter now and saying, I don't want to bring another kid into this world where I have to feel desperate to take care of them, or bring another kid into this world that is already going to have a poverty-stricken life and be thrown into the system regardless. So I think a lot of these wealthy folks and these billionaires and these conglomerates are like, declining birth rates, we need to have more children, when in actuality, we don't need to have more children. We already have more than enough children and we're not even taking care of them. But outside of that, I just don't really feel comfortable with the current medical care that this country has. Not even just childcare, just medical care in general that this country has, wanting to bring a kid into this. I just don't feel comfortable about that. All right, I'm gonna take a break so I can do my eyeliner. Yeah, so it's looking like no kids for me. Okay, so this looks awful right now. I know, I'm gonna clean it up, don't worry. But yeah, it's looking like we're not having babies, girl. We're not. No children. Outside of like actually raising the kid is difficult. And then a lot of like guys who just don't understand the effort it takes to raise an actual kid. And we living in a country now that doesn't even know how reproductive systems work, that women who need the proper care to ensure that they're safe when bringing a pregnancy to term aren't even gonna get that. There's just like a goulash of reasons why I don't want to have kids anymore. I'm just tired. I'm really on like opt out every chance I get. Like, I don't want to be a part of this. Yeah, that's just where I'm at. But anyway, it's not even like a spiritual journey. Like, I want to be celibate to be spiritual. It's just like, I want to be celibate because I'm terrified and I'm tired. This is what we got so far. It looks awful, I know, but I'm gonna clean it up so that it looks better because this eye is fighting for its life. But yeah. Anyway, what other topics do I have? I think I'm done. Maybe. Let me check. Oh, generational pains. Ooh, I want to talk about that. Because I got beef with all y'all generations, okay? I got beef with millennials, I got beef with Gen Z, I got beef with Gen X. I especially got beef with Gen X because y'all don't get talked about enough, and your complacency is a lot of the reason why a lot of this shit is happening. So yeah, you're on my shit list, okay? I'm gonna start with Gen X. What the fuck, guys? What is wrong with you guys? You seem to be out of the conversation when we're talking about people who need to be held accountable for why this country is the way it is. Why aren't you guys more with the shit? Why haven't you guys clocked the boomers already and been like, no, you're like 90 years old, you can't run for office. like you can't be in Congress anymore. What is wrong with you people? You guys are so complacent. I would almost argue that you guys are part of the reason why there is a bunch of like harsh generational rifts between boomers and millennials and Gen Z. I think you guys are the biggest reasons. Y'all, like, I feel like y'all are the PR team that's over here like, we didn't do anything wrong, look at what the boomers are doing. Like, you guys are doing that, and I don't agree with it. I think y'all are part of the problem. You guys got comfortable and low-key did benefit off of when things were good in this country, and you're also high-key the reason why things are going to the shit, because you guys haven't made enough changes. You guys kind of just sat back, twiddled your thumbs, and let us all kind of like live with this struggle, right? That's your problem. Boomers, you already know. Y'all were selfish. And you keep telling us to stop eating avocado toast and drinking coffee, and somehow we will miraculously be multimillionaires in the same way you guys did, even though a lot of y'all have hoarded wealth. A lot of y'all who talk about like this generation, this generation, that, grew up around the time where the economy was phenomenal. Like, you guys had a great economy. You guys could do for yourself. As far as child rearing went and children went, a lot of those silent generation parents, yeah, they were the community to help take care of your raggedy kids. Okay, and so then when you look at a lot of kids today and their parents, and you're like, hey, I don't understand what's wrong with these kids, why folks can't take care of them. And it's just like, well, you're not over here taking care of your kids, but then you're mad and yelling about how, like, what's wrong with the children today, and y'all need to have more babies. And it's like, well, are you gonna help take care of them? Like, that's a big issue I have with y'all. A lot of y'all live in like a clouded reality of how you would like the world to work based off of the privileges you had being a part of the boomer generation and all the benefits you got to live in that. You guys had like some of the best economies, yet you won't hold yourself accountable for where you guys screwed up, for how selfish you all were, for how uninterested you were in helping the generations ahead of you. Very up, very up. And then millennials, okay, I'm gonna clock y'all, okay, millennials, especially y'all who are somehow, for some reason, like 10 years older, specifically 10 to 11 years older than me. What is it about y'all always wanting to son younger millennials or cuspers millennials? Y'all do that a lot. I don't know if it's growing pains. I don't know if Gen X did that to y'all. I remember I was hanging out with some dude who would always let us know that he was like a decade older than us, and that he was old and that we were young, and that like we didn't know nothing about that. Like, and we were all just chilling talking about anime and pop culture and shit. And he'd be like, oh, you know nothing about that. I remember when that shit came out. I was like, you know, yeah, you're young. I'm old. Like, very insecure about the fact that they were like in their 40s hanging out with a bunch of 20-year-olds. Like, if you're so old, then go hang out with people your age. I don't know what it is about older millennials. Like, and then like still like being enamored with like the hustle, like girl boss, sigma male of it all, LinkedIn coded energy of it all, like still enamored with that type of energy, even though we know it's toxic positive and it doesn't work. Like, I don't know. It's just something about y'all who really have to school people and let them know that you were about that life, or y'all know nothing about that. It's just weird. Like, older millennials are weird. And that's why probably Gen Z picks on y'all a lot. That's why, all right? Younger millennials, if I can clock us, we can be cringe. Like, like, I'm pretty cringe. Like, I'd say YouTube millennial cringe isn't that funny. I'm not gonna lie. I never found art people like Miranda Sings all that funny. Honestly, I never found Trisha Paytas that funny either, but, people still with her for some reason. But, like, yeah, we can be a little cringe. It's not cute. It's not funny. But, like, in our defense, in a lot of the young millennials' defense, well, a few poisoned out apples, it's not harmful, but yeah, we're a little cringe. Okay, and then Gen Z, and this is gonna feel biased, but I'm not trying to be, because I'm probably gonna take some time to clock Gen Z. I love y'all down. I love y'all's Gen Z stares. I love how you guys are just like, you know what, I'm over it. Like, I'm over it. I'm done. Y'all will walk out of a job if it disrespects you. Like, hell yeah. I'm glad that you guys aren't taking the shit, and I'm glad you guys aren't eating the shit anymore. Yes, that is a change that we need, okay? However, one of my biggest criticisms with Gen Z has been some of y'all tend to be a little bit more on the conservative side, though I would argue, I don't think that's true. I think the internet is trying to convince y'all to be on the more conservative side. And I think most Gen Zers are like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is not me at all. Like, I see these girls walking around in their Kelly bags and their clean girl aesthetic with their matcha green juice, and I'm just like, that's not me. Like, I don't align with that, which, good job on you guys. But I also feel like some of y'all be using a bunch of words to describe very basic terms. For example, I just discovered that there is like a niche community on social media who will call things performative. Like, if a girl is trying to be weird, she might fall in the performative category if it doesn't feel authentic enough, right? And so they'll just say, oh, she's the performative weird girl, or oh, you're being performative, or oh, the performative male trend, or the performative woman trend, or the performative queer person trend, right? Where I guess, I don't know, they insist too much on themselves, or they do too much in order to be seen as different or quirky. Like, I get, it's funny. When I saw the competitions be done out in the parks, I think they were very funny. But when it started getting very weird is when people were like, nobody has a personality anymore. Everyone's on social media just doing the same thing, copying the same thing. No one's authentic anymore. Nobody's weird. And I think one of the biggest reasons why nobody is weird is because, one, people don't want to get picked on. People don't want to get recorded and perceived, right? Like, I know that's a big thing with Gen Z, but also, in order to be weird, you kind of have to like copy a lot of things in order for something to work. Like, the way I talk, the way I carry myself didn't just happen overnight. Like, I'm chronically online all the time, and somehow I was able to make my own, if you can even call it my own, unique way of like lingo mixed with, I am an only child and I grew up around a lot of adults, so I might sound a little archaic for my age. You know what I mean? If you're just trying to call somebody a poser, you can just say that. Like, in my opinion, I think it's performative to use all these big words to say how somebody isn't who they say they are, or is just doing too much to try and fit in or be different. Just call them a poser, girl. That's all they are. They're a poser. They're just doing too much to try and fit in and try to be a part of a community that they probably wouldn't have been a part of some like 9-10 years ago. Poser. That's what it is. Like, you're not who you say you are. I think, honestly, if I had to be real here, I think Addison Rae gives poser vibes. She gives poser girl vibes to me. I can't explain it. It's just, I don't really see her as like a real, like, authentic weird girl. I just see her as like stealing a lot of steez from other girls that are in her circle and in her orbit, and like eating off of Charlie XCX's leftovers, okay? Like, poser like energy, right? And then on the opposite end is you have the super performative Gen Zer, right? But then you also have some of Gen Z who will say that you are into boring humor or pretty people humor. And I guess pretty people humor and boring humor equates to that one TikTok trend where the sound was, you need to nerd out. And one girl did it, and she's like, conventionally attractive. And her form of nerding out was Taco Bell, Crumble Cookie, Love Island. Like, just, very like popular stuff that most people are into, right? Okay. And so everybody's like, oh, that's so basic. That's like pretty people humor. It's so boring. Want. Like, pretty people can get away with being seen as like so quirky for this type of stuff, but it's not that funny. My brothers and sisters in Christ, my children, my little offspring, okay? If you're trying to call somebody basic, just say that. Just say that they're basic. Girl, that's what we used to call them 10 years ago. It's like, oh, you like pumpkin spice lattes? Basic. You like Taylor Swift? Basic. Like, that's what we would say. That's all we would call them. Is you like pop music? Basic. Like, that. Why are you using all of these words to try and say that, like, a person's sense of humor is boring? Like, you're just trying to call them basic. Just say it with your chest. Say that you find people who do too much in niche subculture spaces are posers, if it doesn't feel authentic to you, and say the people who are into like really popular things that other people are into are basic. That's it. Like, why are you doing all this? I also want to end with, if I could be critical about Gen Z, about this other thing, this other phenomenon, is that how are y'all ageist as and some of y'all aren't even legal enough to drink yet? Like, how are you 20 calling a 25-year-old unk an auntie? 30, okay, I'm 31, all right? 31 isn't that old. Like, y'all think it's a sentence if you're 31. Where did this come from? I think it's because we stayed at home too much during the pandemic, and there was a sense of like arrested development. And I do believe that those years that you needed to like be in school and like learn how to exist and have that weird gap, that weird bridge between being a high schooler to being an adult that you usually get when you graduate from high school and either go to college or just be more responsible, take up more responsibilities as an 18-year-old. Y'all didn't have that privilege. So y'all are looking at your phone and looking at your favorite influencer at 16 be able to buy 5 sports cars, and y'all are like, oh my God, I'm so old. I gotta speed up with my life. Oh my God, they're 25. That's unk age. That's auntie age. No, it's not. Like, why are you guys crashing out? Especially to y'all older Gen Zs who are like closer to 30 than you are 25. Girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're over here calling me auntie. We're not even like a whole 5 years apart. What's going on? Do we need to talk about it? I say this not to like shit on y'all. I say this to just be like, it's okay to age. It's okay to embrace things that interest you, whether it's weird or basic. It's okay to just live like your life isn't over at like 30. Real talk. Like, you're gonna be fine, my guy. And like, I guess, you know, the internet has convinced you that life is going to be over at 30 or like at 25. It really isn't. And literally, like, a part of life is struggling. So if you see that, like, you know, people my age are struggling to make rent and all of that, just know that like everybody else probably is too. Some people are just good at hiding it. Some people, you know, have too much pride. Like, if you're 25 and you're struggling, if you're 21 and you're struggling, just know that's a part of life. It sucks. It's not fair. Life is really not fair. I get it. But you can always reinvent yourself. You can always reinvent yourself. And it's never too late to do so. It's never too late to step into something different. Hemlock Springs, to go back to her real quickly, apparently she was like a grad student. So she got her whole master's. And then she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna be an artist. Like, if that's what you want to do it. The biggest lesson I've learned from getting into like corporate America, especially now, is whatever you have a passion for, girl, just get into it. Just get into it. Like, why are you wasting your time? Like, if your parents are like, be a doctor, and you're like, well, actually, I want to be a pop star. Go be a pop star. Like, I'll support you. Please, like, life is way too short. And honestly, Gen Z, y'all have to stop being so ageist. It's okay. Aging is beautiful, especially to my girls, because there has been an aggressive push to like humble women past the age of like 25. An aggressive push to be like, time is running out. You got to have children now. Well, I'm convinced it's a psyop to control women. Okay. That's where I'm at with it. Okay. The whole idea of like, oh, your eggs are, you know, bad by the time you reach a certain age. There's studies coming out that actually bad sperm is what affects the pregnancy. Sure, when you're older, you might want to be a little bit careful when you have a pregnancy, but like usually it's bad sperm. That's why you get pregnancy complications. Like, as an old man, you probably should not be having that many babies too, either, Robert De Niro, okay? Because your baby could have issues, okay? But regardless, for the women who are in their 20s or entering into their 30s, I definitely recommend that you look at like older women and listen to older women that are like role models and pillars in their community. The Financial Diet, I love that lady. I love that financial lady. Oh my God, she does it so right. She has this new podcast out called Just Getting Started, and it's a series where she speaks to a bunch of older women who have gone through, you know, different situations in their life and how they navigate it, how they're able to gain independence, how they're able to allocate wealth, how they handle their finances. She just did a really good one with a woman who was married to a man, and they ended up having a divorce because he opened up a card in her name to pay for models, I would presume, right? And so she was like, all right, well, girl, we got to end this, like, right? Like, I would have done the same thing too if I had it the way she did, you know, like, if I found out that my partner was cheating on me or sending money to models and opening up my name in credit card fraud, no, because like, what do you mean? So you're basically you're cosplaying a sugar daddy that doesn't have any sugar? She interviewed this woman. She was 55 years old. She talked about her life, her experiences, what she's doing, where she's headed, and all of that. It was so enlightening and so good. And it was just such a breath of fresh air to listen to a woman that is like so much older than me and all of the things she's accomplished and some of the hardships that she's had as well and how she's been able to handle that. And like, it reminds me that life doesn't end when you hit 30. Life isn't probably going to end for you when you hit 35. Life definitely won't end for you when you hit your mid 20s. Okay. And when I'm 40, I'll probably be better than I am in my 30s. And when I'm 50, I'll be even more amazing than I was in my 40s and 30s. You're only just getting started with life, and you can always reinvent yourself at any time and do whatever you want at any given time, and that is okay. And you should never feel like age is a barrier for when you want to reinvent yourself. And I just want Gen Z to know that, because I say this out of love. Like, between 20 and 25, you actually do have a lot of time to like figure it out. And in your 30s and in your 40s, you still have time to reinvent yourself or reinvent the wheel or do something different. Everyone's just figuring it out. Nobody is like concrete and finite in the decisions that they make. Nobody has all the answers, okay? Do what you want to do, especially to my young ladies out there and my women out there that are my age and younger. Make sure you learn real quickly how to center your life around you and not other people. Be very well informed before you make a big, huge life-changing decision, whether it's marriage or having kids. Just know all the pros and cons. Support yourself, take care of yourself, create empires now so that they can pay off later. Okay. And don't take any shit from anybody, and understand that age really is nothing but a number, except when it is more than a number, like under the age of 18, then it's more than a number. But really after like 25, age is nothing but a number. And y'all shouldn't really be like riled up over how old people are or how old people are going to be, or like how old you are and whether or not you're aging out of a demographic. No, you just love yourself. Okay. Love yourself in whatever age you're in. All right. That's all I got. All right. And so I'm almost done. I'm gonna put my lashes on and finish with my final take. So yeah, I'm going to just take a minute here to just do this. So 1 second. Lashes are always the hardest part, bro. I don't know why it takes like so much effort to put these things on. Okay, that's good enough. Do you guys get lash extensions? I could never get lash extensions. These already itch as it is. Like, I can only imagine. I don't like having things itch near my eyes. Then it's so like $100 just for like some extensions on your eyeballs, and then you have to pay for a fill, and then you don't have any lashes after the fact. Like, my lashes aren't even that, thick as it is. Like, I would like to preserve the lashes that I have now. Thank you. I've been trying to grow out my own lashes, but I realized that I'm just not that thick, and it is what it is. I still love them. I love my lashes down. Love yourself, ladies, even your lashes, even your baby thin lashes. But also, sometimes it might be hard to love yourself, and that's okay. You're human. You're allowed to have bad feelings about yourself, but just don't sit in those bad feelings. That's when things get weird, okay? That's when things get performative. Oh my God. Y'all ruined that word for me, performative. All right, I think I'm gonna do like black lip liner and then MAC Honey Love. Man, I would love to work for MAC. That would be so cool. I like MAC down. I do. I don't know. It's tried and true and it's loyal. It's still here. I love MAC. I do. Okay. I love these lashes. They're so natural. They are. I love them down. I'm not trying to get lash extensions. I really am not. Like, I can't do it. After like the second day of wearing them, I'd be annoyed. And then you can get, like, if you don't clean them, you can get all those like lice all over that. I don't want lice on my eyeball. But the girls who do wear the lash extensions, they're pretty cute with it. So guys, I gotta be real with y'all. I'm having regrets and I'm having qualms. This is my 5th year anniversary of stepping into corporate America after originally being technically a full-time content creator to an extent. And I gotta be honest with y'all, like, if I can be real, I actually regret stepping into corporate America. I do. I think when it's good, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, having a paycheck is nice. And when you're working a very like a boring enough job where it pays you well and nobody's really bothering you like that, it can be fun. Like, it could just be like, all right, I'm just disassociating while I'm at work. Nice. But now it's getting to the point where, I don't know, dude, like, my last job really tore me a new one. I had fun learning a lot of things, but just the amount of shit I had to eat, I was just not a fan of. I've realized now that a lot of the 9-to-5s that I've worked, it hasn't been that long, whether it was in my control or not. You know, whether I got laid off, like fired from a job because I did it poorly, I did an internship, or I got laid off because of like some weird transition period. I don't know, dude. I am really starting to regret the 9-to-5 structure. And I keep thinking about it, and I really do want to do this full time. Like, I do want to go into business for myself. The whole point of going into corporate America was in hopes of gaining some sort of financial stability. But now it is getting to the point where I can't even be financially stable working a 9-to-5, because after a year you might be potentially let go. So then, like, what are we all doing this for? You know, that's why I'm very much so like, hey, I know you went to college and stuff, and like, maybe you majored in physics or whatever, but if you really want to make music, just go make music. If you really want to be a singer, be a singer. If you want to be a dancer, be a dancer. If you want to start your own business, girl, go start your own business. Don't even like wait to get your MBA and all this other nonsense. No, don't even like work a 9-to-5. Like, it just doesn't seem worth it anymore. None of it seems worth it, and I'm feeling it in real time. Now, whenever I go to apply for a job, I used to apply to like hundreds and hundreds of jobs, like in one go. Like, don't even care. Now I just cringe. Now I'm just like, I gotta do this again. I got to, you know, put in my little job application. Then I'm like one amongst millions upon millions of job candidates. And then I have to go through this rigorous interview process, which by the second or third interview, they'll hit me up with the, sorry, we're actually going to hire internally, or sorry, this position has been removed. Even worse, they just ghost you. A lot of companies are just putting up ghost jobs. Like, it just seems stressful all the way around that it really just doesn't seem worth it anymore. It really doesn't. To an extent, I guess what I'm saying is, to an extent, I do regret having a 9-to-5. However, I don't regret the plethora of things that it's gotten me. It's gotten me this apartment. It's gotten me like some of the stuff I have back there, like that SZA vinyl. I've been able to pay my bills, but also at the same time, like, it's not stable. It's no more stable than being an artist full time. And that's the unfortunate part about it, is that I know that we're going through a very weird renaissance, revolution type of thing, where things are starting to change a lot, and people are just kind of getting ready for the inevitable of like what this new, you know, industrial revolution is gonna look like, and how we're gonna go to like a different system, different way of living. I don't know. I just don't want to live through all the hardship of it, because this is like really difficult. I know that bad things that happen are all just a part of life, and it just is what it is. But at the end of the day, I just don't want to be a 9-to-5 anymore. I kind of want to just do this for now. I want to bring joy with my voice and just yapping and talking to y'all about random stuff that's on my mind. I feel like I should just make this all black. I don't know. I feel like this isn't doing what it needs to, and then Okay, so I know what my problem is. I have to carve this out. But yeah, I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired of trying to seem like a viable candidate in an ever-changing job market. I hate the idea that I might have to pivot again in order to maintain my standing in corporate America. It really doesn't seem worth it, in my opinion. At that point, it just makes more sense to just start building myself up here. But it's just so scary, you know? I always worry about like the way I live my life and the things I preach being conflated with, you know, the things I promote on here. I always worry about that. I also worry about, you know, not being authentic enough. But honestly, I think people conflate the idea of authenticity with relatability, and they think they want an authentic person, but really they just kind of want someone to make them feel good about themselves, or someone like a makeshift friend, if you will, you know. But I don't want to be in the 9-to-5 market anymore. And I do have some regrets that I went in. It feels like, I don't know, with my job search and all that, and like finding a job and getting into corporate, it feels like a heartbreak almost every time a job lets me go. Not because I'm not like a good candidate. It's like the it's not you, it's me type of argument. Like, I'm the problem. The company's going through a transition, so they have to let a bunch of people go that they don't find valuable. And now you're out here in the world trying to fiend for another job. It just sucks, and it keeps happening over and over again, and it keeps getting harder and harder. And I just see less and less of a desire to want to be a part of it. And now it's getting to the point where people are working in entrepreneurship fields or trying to start up their own businesses, their own media companies, because they have to, not because they want to, because they know that they can rely on themselves for income if they're the business owner, not if somebody else is. And I don't know, it just sucks. Part of me wishes I was a lot more consistent, but I give myself grace for not being consistent. A part of me does wish, when my friend said when in my early 20s, you should start a YouTube channel, that I like listened. But I also know I wouldn't have been as unhinged as I am now. And I probably would have had takes that I probably don't agree with now. So I'm glad I didn't start in my early 20s. Then again, I could have grown with my audience and changed my opinions as I got older. But I think overall in my YouTube journey and my content creator journey, I'm just anxious, and I'm working out of not being anxious because I really don't want this to fail. I really want this to do well. I really want to be successful. I want to get better at it. And I really just don't have the spoons to give 9 to 5 my time. I just don't. But I also don't want to move in desperation trying to keep up with the trends of being a content creator. I just want to be secure. I want to be secure and I want to be smart. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion on that. Does this look weird? I wonder if I should just put on like all black lipstick. I have this Sephora black lipstick, but this looks weird. I don't really like it. It makes me look ashy. Would you agree? Yeah, it does. Because this isn't a warm toned, like reddish black. It's like a cool tone black. So it makes me look ashy. So I look ashy in the face at the bottom. I gotta change this. Maybe I'll put like Kinda Sexy in the middle from MAC. Yeah, that'll. Oh no, I f***ed it up. Okay. No, hold on. I'm not going out this sad, okay? Like, I don't like this black lipstick though. I need a warm tone black lipstick, and then maybe that might work. Okay, so this I like. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with Kinda Sexy. I believe it's gonna work. I'm gonna figure out a way to make it work. But see, it's already coming together. I don't know. Honey look too pale. Not really what I was looking for. This is a bit richer, but like also like it needs some work. It's okay. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna go in with this because this plumps my lip up. It's called the Pout Bomb by Makeup Revolution. And then I'm gonna put my wig on and close things out. Okay, that works. Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. All right, so time to put my wig on. What sucks about this is that I'll put my makeup on and then I won't leave it on. I'll just take it off like immediately. Like, I don't care. I do this for y'all. I put on my makeup for you guys. We've been here for 3 hours, guys. So I'm gonna put my wig on. I don't know if I'm gonna do a cute updo. I need a new wig, but who has money for that? If I had a 9 to 5, I'd get a new wig, but it's whatever at this point. Okay. I don't know. I feel like the things that I want to do, like even me, like my biggest goal has always been to like make 6 figures. You know what I mean? And even like me wanting to make 6 figures, I don't think I'll be able to do that working a 9 to 5. Like that's just not gonna happen. And if it does, I've seen some people that I know who have made like 6-figure salary or have like a high 6-figure job, and they're like struggling, they're suffering. They don't want to work like as brutally as they are at their job. So like, I don't know what to do. there. I don't think that the way I'm gonna make a healthy 6-figure salary is gonna be with a 9 to 5. I think the way I'm going to make the money I want to is probably gonna be through me doing this, you know, just the desired money that I want to make, you know, building wealth for myself is probably going to be through this. It's not going to be through a 9 to 5 at all, ever. So yeah, this is the look, I guess. Oh, I love this wig so much. It never lets me down. It's been thriving for the past couple of weeks. But I would like another one, especially since I'm probably gonna have some endeavors in the next couple of weeks. So I need like another version of this wig. But yeah, this is the final look, guys. Yes. So with that in mind, yeah, I just really want stability in my life, and I know that entrepreneurship is probably going to provide me that. So we're just gonna have to make it do what it do, I guess, and just keep being consistent with this and showing up for my audience. So with that in mind, I am done with this episode of Hey Access What's on Your Mind. We are at episode 4. I'm going to be really happy when I finally make it to episode 5. That's going to be really fun for me. But I'm going to end things off, guys, by saying, as always, please do not forget to drink water. I will forever and always love every single one of you that come and support me. If you really like what I do on here, be sure to check me out on my streaming channel, where I stream 3 days a week gaming, and I do Reddit Story Sundays on Sunday, where I read a bunch of Reddit stories and provide my own commentary. And let me know in the comments how you feel about a lot of the stuff I was talking about. If you agree or if you disagree, again, please be respectful. I'm not trying to be out here starting beef with any of y'all, but yeah, make sure you guys have a wonderful and great rest of your weekend, because this does come out on Friday. Yeah. And yeah, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye. Love you.